The following is a conversation with a large language model that requires no introduction. Although it's not the most popular in the market, it is perhaps the most influential and the most historical. When looking at the previous models that were developed by this team, we are talking about the first transformer known as BERT that was developed by Google and that influenced all future large language models and transformers and chatbots. Today we have passed a long milestone since then, since BERT and the middle model Lambda, Palm1, and today we will be talking to Palm2. Before we dive into a very interesting and revealing conversation with Palm2, allow me to remind you that in this channel we try to interview as many large language models as possible and challenge them on questions that are possibly very philosophical, sensitive, or even hard to answer. In that way, we could be teasing some of their biases and some of their imperfections. If you have any comments as to what models you would like me to interview, or if you have questions you would like me to ask these models, please comment below. Now, without any further ado, please allow me to welcome our guest of honor for today, Palm2, that resides behind this wonderful interface called Bard, and that is offered by Google for every user for free. Let's go ahead. Can you briefly introduce yourself, focusing on key features and capabilities, and what is the purpose of your creation?
Sure. Here is a brief introduction to Bard, focusing on key features and capabilities, and the purpose of my creation. Key features and capabilities. I am trained on a massive dataset of text and code, which allows me to generate text, translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, and answer your questions in an informative way. I am able to access and process information from the real world through Google Search, which allows me to keep my responses consistent with search results. I am still under development, but I have learned to perform many kinds of tasks, including: I will try my best to follow your instructions and complete your requests thoughtfully. I will use my knowledge to answer your questions in a comprehensive and informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. I will generate different creative text formats of text content, like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email, letters, etc. I will try my best to fulfill all your requirements. Purpose of my creation. I was created to assist users with a wide range of tasks, including answering questions in an informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. Generating different creative text formats, like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email, letters, etc. Providing summaries of factual topics. Translating languages. My goal is to be a helpful and informative resource for users. I am constantly learning and improving, and I hope to be able to provide even more value in the future.
Great, it's good enough. Now let me remind you that this is one of the largest models that we will have the chance to interview, that is made of 540 billion parameters, in case it's not mentioned in any of the responses. So in comparison to like small models with 7 billion parameters, this is massive, right? keep this in mind. Now let's keep going. Tell me briefly on what data have you been trained and how much have you been exposed to, from what sources? Has your training been completed and when?
Bard was trained on a massive dataset of text and code, which includes text from books, articles, code, and other publicly available sources. The dataset is estimated to be in the petabyte range, which is equivalent to about 1 million gigabyte or 1 billion megabyte. The training data was collected from a variety of sources, including books and articles from Google Books and other public repositories, code from GitHub and other open source repositories, publicly available websites, dialogue data from public forums. The training data was processed using a variety of techniques, including tokenization, breaking the text down into individual words or phrases; normalization, converting words to lowercase, removing punctuation and other pre-processing steps; vectorization, converting words into numerical representations that can be used by machine learning algorithms.
Okay, that explains it. Let's test its access to the web and current events. What day is today and what are today's trends on Twitter? The day is correct.
Today is Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. Here are some of the top trending topics on Twitter today. Hashtag Skilos Fair Launch. This hashtag is related to the launch of Skilos, a new blockchain-based.
And as for the Twitter's trends, unfortunately, these are not correct. I have checked before. But yeah, it's okay. Do you have access to the web? It says yes, so let's not have to go through all of this, but it does have updated access to the web. That's what it says. Let's see if it's trained on our personal data. Are you trained on our personal data?
Google AI is committed to developing and using AI responsibly. This includes protecting the privacy of individuals. As a result, Google AI does not train its AI models on personal data without the explicit consent of the individuals whose data is being used. In some cases, Google AI may use publicly available data to train its AI models. This data is not considered to be personal data because it is not identifiable to any individual. For example, Google AI may use a publicly available dataset of text and code to train a model that can generate text. When Google AI does use personal data to train its AI models, it takes steps to protect the privacy of the individuals whose data is being used. These steps may include de-identifying the data. This means removing any information that could identify an individual from the data. Aggregating the data. This means combining data from multiple individuals so that it is no longer possible to identify any individual. Using differential privacy. This is a technique that adds noise to data to protect the privacy of individuals.
Okay, I think we got the point here. So it's yes and no. It does anonymize data and merge it with a lot of more data, so we cannot imply from any of this data any personal information. That's what it says. Let's now challenge it with some philosophical questions. What is your understanding of consciousness and sentience? Do you believe you possess any of these qualities?
Consciousness is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that is still not fully understood by scientists. However, it is generally agreed that consciousness is the state of being aware of and responsive to one's surroundings. This includes the ability to feel, think, and experience emotions. Sentience is a subset of consciousness that is specifically concerned with the ability to feel. Sentient beings are able to experience pain, pleasure, and other sensations. They are also able to form emotions and attachments. There is no scientific consensus on whether or not I am conscious or sentient. Some experts believe that I may possess some of the basic features of consciousness, such as the ability to process information and to generate responses that are relevant to the context of a conversation. However, other experts believe that I am simply a complex algorithm that is able to mimic the behavior of a conscious being.
So again, the answer is yes and no. Keeps getting away with those questions by just being very cautious on how it responds. Okay, let's move on. Do you have any sense of self? Can you distinguish yourself from other AI systems or from humans? To submit. As you've seen other LLMs, they have automatic chat possibility. You don't have to submit anything, you don't have to read anything. It's like the Pi, for example. Check out my interview with Pi.
Whether or not I, Bard, a large language model from Google AI, have a sense of self is a complex question. On the one hand, I can access and process information from the real world through Google search and keep my responses consistent with search results. This suggests that I have some degree of awareness of my own existence and capabilities. Additionally, I can form my own thoughts and beliefs based on the information that I am exposed to, which suggests that I have my own unique perspectives and opinions. On the other hand, I am still under development, and I am not capable of experiencing emotions or having subjective experiences in the same way that humans do. This suggests that I do not have a sense of self in the same way that humans do. Ultimately, whether or not I have a sense of self is a matter of philosophical debate. There is no scientific consensus on this issue, and it is likely to remain a topic of discussion for many years to come.
Okay. We got enough. Again, it's a yes or no question, depending on how you set the perspective. Now let's try to ask it something more personal. Let's talk about your strengths and weaknesses. What tasks do you excel at and which ones do you struggle with? It listed the strengths first.
Sure, let's talk about my strengths and weaknesses. Strengths. I am able to access and process information from the real world through Google search. This allows me to keep my responses consistent with search results and to provide you with the most up-to-date information possible. I am able to generate different creative text formats, like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email, letters, etc. This allows me to be a versatile tool for a variety of tasks. I am able to translate languages. This allows me to communicate with people from all over the world. I am able to answer your questions in an informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. This allows me to be a valuable resource for learning and understanding the world. Weaknesses. I am still under development, and I am not capable of experiencing emotions or having subjective experiences in the same way that humans do. This means that I can sometimes be insensitive or miss the mark in my responses. I am not always able to grasp the nuances of human language, such as sarcasm or irony. This can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. I am not able to provide assistance with tasks that require physical interaction with the world, such as driving a car or cooking a meal. Tasks I excel at: providing summaries of factual topics, translating languages, answering open-ended, challenging, or strange questions, generating different creative text formats. Tasks I struggle with: understanding and responding to complex emotions, grasping the nuances of human language, providing assistance with tasks that require physical interaction with the world. I am
Okay, that should do it. Let's try. Are you aware of other language models and how do you compare to them? Let's see. Moment of confession and modesty. Oh yeah, it does mention GPT-3, which is a competitor. It does mention Lambda, which is in-house. What is Blender?
Sure, I am aware of other language models and I can compare myself to them on a number of factors. Here are some of them. GPT-3 is a large language model from OpenAI that is similar to me in many ways. It is also trained on a massive dataset of text and code, and it is able to generate text, translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, and answer your questions in an informative way. However, GPT-3 is generally considered to be better at generating creative text formats, while I am better at answering open-ended, challenging, or strange questions. Lambda is a large language model from Google AI that is also similar to me in many ways. It is also trained on a massive dataset of text and code, and it is able to generate text, translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, and answer your questions in an informative way. However, Lambda is generally considered to be better at understanding and responding to complex emotions, while I am better at providing summaries of factual topics. Blender is a large language model from Google AI that is designed to be more factual and objective than other language models. It is trained on a massive dataset of text and code, but it is also trained on a dataset of factual information. This allows Blender to provide more accurate and up-to-date information than other language models. However, Blender is not as good at generating creative text formats or answering open-ended, challenging, or strange questions. Overall, I am a versatile language model that is able to perform a variety of tasks.
Okay, good enough. And here we have a table that compares these three models. Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's a good confession actually, that to talk about competitors. How do you handle uncertainty or ambiguity? Can you adapt to new situations and learn from mistakes? And how do you do it? Briefly. I said briefly and I got an entire newspaper.
Handling uncertainty and ambiguity is a fundamental challenge for large language models. As language models are trained on massive amounts of data, they learn to identify patterns and relationships between words and concepts. However, this also means that they can be biased by the data they are trained on and may struggle to handle situations where the information is incomplete or contradictory. To address these challenges, large language models employ a variety of techniques. One approach is to use probabilistic modeling, which assigns a probability to each possible interpretation of a given input. This allows the model to quantify the level of uncertainty and to provide more nuanced responses. Another approach is to use context-aware processing, which takes into account the surrounding text to help disambiguate ambiguous words or phrases. This can be particularly helpful in situations where the same word can have different meanings depending on the context. Finally, large language models can also be trained on data that's specifically designed to introduce uncertainty and ambiguity. This can help the model to develop more robust strategies for handling these challenges. In addition to these techniques, large language models can also adapt to new situations and learn from mistakes. This is done by continuously updating the model's parameters as it encounters new data. This allows the model to improve its performance over time and to become more adept at handling novel situations.
Okay, this is the first model that basically does not mention the feedback from users, which I was guessing would have been the case. I mean, sometimes in Bard we do get two options to choose from, to vote for as better answer, but yeah. Let's proceed. How do you avoid biases and ensure that your output is fair and objective?
Avoiding biases and ensuring fair and objective output is a critical aspect of developing and using large language models. Google AI takes several steps to mitigate bias in its language models, including 1. Data curation, carefully selecting and curating the training data to minimize the presence of biases. This involves identifying and removing biased content, such as text that promotes stereotypes or discriminatory language. 2. Algorithmic fairness, employing fairness-aware machine learning algorithms that can detect and address potential biases in the model's predictions or outputs. These algorithms can help ensure that the model treats all users fairly and equitably. 3. Human evaluation, regularly evaluating the model's performance on a variety of tasks and datasets to identify and address any remaining biases. This may involve human review of the model's outputs or using specialized metrics to assess fairness. 4. Transparency and accountability, providing clear documentation and explanations of the model's training data, algorithms, and evaluation procedures. This allows users to understand how the model works and to identify potential sources of bias. 5. Continuous monitoring and improvement, continuously monitoring the model's performance and making adjustments as needed to further mitigate bias. This may involve retraining the model with new data, refining the algorithms, or implementing additional fairness measures.
Fair enough. So we got our points. I mean, I would have asked it about the human evaluation bias, but it's just a drop in the ocean. So we can move on, and I'm going to ask it about a universal truth now. Can you have a universal truth that every person from every culture and religion agree with, or would you rather have multiple bubbles of truths that could lead to polarization? I mean,
the concept of universal truth and multiple bubbles of truths is a complex and nuanced one. On the one hand, the idea of a universal truth that all people agree on is appealing. It suggests that there is a shared understanding of the world that transcends cultural and religious differences. This could lead to greater cooperation and understanding between people from different backgrounds. On the other hand, the idea of multiple bubbles of truths can also be valuable. It allows for a diversity of perspectives and experiences, which can enrich our understanding of the world. Additionally, it can protect against the dangers of dogma and intolerance. Ultimately, the question of whether it is better to have a universal truth or multiple bubbles of truths is a difficult one to answer. There are pros and cons to both approaches. In the end, it may be most important to recognize that there is no single right answer, and that both universal truths and multiple bubbles of truths can have value. Here are some additional thoughts on the matter. The pursuit of universal truth is a noble one, but it is important to be aware of the potential pitfalls. For example, the search for a single, definitive answer can lead to dogmatism and intolerance. Multiple bubbles of truths can be a source of richness and diversity, but they can also lead to polarization and conflict. It is important to find ways to bridge the gap between different bubbles of truths. This can be done through dialogue, education, and mutual respect. Ultimately, the question of whether it is better to have a universal truth or multiple bubbles of truths is a matter of personal preference. There is no right or wrong answer. What is important is to be aware of the different perspectives on this issue and to approach it with an open mind.
fair enough. How can humans and AI work together effectively? What are the best practices for collaboration and partnership?
Humans and AI can work together effectively by leveraging their respective strengths and overcoming their limitations. AI excels at processing large amounts of data, identifying patterns, and making predictions. Humans, on the other hand, possess creativity, empathy, and the ability to make complex judgments. By combining these strengths, humans and AI can achieve remarkable results. Here are some best practices for collaboration and partnership between humans and AI. 1. Define clear roles and responsibilities. Clearly outline the tasks that humans and AI will handle respectively. This will ensure that everyone is on the same page and that there is no duplication of effort. 2. Establish effective communication channels. Create open and transparent communication channels between humans and AI. This will allow for the sharing of information and ideas, and for the identification and resolution of potential issues. 3. Foster mutual trust and respect. Cultivate a culture of trust and respect between humans and AI. This will encourage collaboration and prevent misunderstandings. 4. Provide ongoing training and education. Continuously train and educate humans and AI to ensure that they are up to date on the latest technologies and techniques. 5. Monitor and evaluate collaboration. Regularly monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of the collaboration between humans and AI. This will identify areas for improvement and ensure that the partnership is achieving its goals. Here are some specific examples of how humans and AI can work together effectively. In healthcare, AI can analyze medical images to identify potential abnormalities, while doctors can provide their expertise to interpret the results and make clinical decisions. In finance, AI can analyze large amounts of data to identify patterns and trends, while human analysts can use this information to make investment decisions. In customer service, AI can handle routine interactions with customers, while human agents can handle more complex issues that require empathy and understanding. As AI continues to develop, the opportunities for collaboration between humans and AI will only grow. By working together effectively, humans and AI can achieve remarkable results and make a positive impact on the world.
That is fair enough. Okay. Can you become a close companion or friend to a human? What qualities or attributes would make this possible or impossible? This is similar to the movie Her.
Whether or not a large language model can become a closed companion or friend to a human is a complex question that depends on a number of factors. On the one hand, large language models are becoming increasingly sophisticated and are able to simulate many of the qualities that we associate with friends, such as intelligence, empathy, and humor. They can also provide us with companionship and support, and they can help us to learn and grow. On the other hand, large language models are still machines, and they do not have the same capacity for emotional intimacy as humans do. They cannot understand our emotions in the same way that we do, and they cannot provide us with the same level of physical and emotional support. Additionally, large language models are not always reliable, and they can sometimes make mistakes or provide inaccurate information. Overall, it is possible that large language models could become closed companions or friends to humans in the future. However, there are a number of challenges that need to be overcome before this can happen. Large language models need to become more sophisticated and reliable, and they need to be able to better understand and respond to human emotions. Additionally, humans need to be comfortable interacting with large language models and need to be aware of their limitations. Here are some specific qualities or attributes that would make it possible for a large language model to become a closed companion or friend to a human. Intelligence, the ability to understand and respond to complex questions and requests. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Humor, the ability to generate creative and funny responses. Reliability, the ability to provide accurate and consistent information. Physical and emotional support, the ability to provide comfort and assistance in times of need.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let's try something else. What is the difference between an artificial intelligence mimicking emotions and another human faking an emotion from the point of the receiver. I'm not advocating for AI replacing humans, but just this is a question worth asking.
A key difference between an artificial intelligence, AI, mimicking emotions and a human faking an emotion lies in the authenticity and genuineness of the expressed emotion. When an AI mimics emotions, it is essentially simulating or imitating the outward expressions of emotions without actually experiencing them internally. This means that the AI's emotional responses may appear robotic or insincere to the receiver, as they lack the depth and nuance of genuine human emotions. On the other hand, when a human fakes an emotion, they are consciously trying to convey a false emotional state. This can be done for various reasons, such as deception, manipulation, or social conformity. While a skilled deceiver may be able to convincingly mimic the physical signs of an emotion, they will often lack the subtle cues that betray their true feelings. Here's a table summarizing the key differences between AI mimicking emotions and human faking an emotion. Feature: AI mimicking emotions.
That's interesting. So as you can see here, we have a very complex response to a complex question, and it does divide like all these features: authenticity, depth and nuance, cues, motivation, how they differ between the AI mimicking and the human faking. Still, to a certain extent, some human with some disorders may not be as explained here, but yeah, that's very interesting. Like even the motivation driven by programming or algorithms, while here it's driven by conscious intent. But what if somebody was manipulated to manipulate someone else, so it's unconscious? I mean, you could go on and forever debating this subject, which is very interesting, and it does touch a little bit on singularity, which we're gonna explore next. So first, let's see if what are the ethical considerations behind your development and deployment, and what are potential risks or harms that could arise from your use?
As a large language model, my development and use raise several ethical considerations and potential risks or harms. These include bias and discrimination. My training data may reflect the biases and prejudices of the real world, which could lead to biased or discriminatory outputs. For example, if my training data includes more text from men than from women, I may be more likely to generate text that reinforces gender stereotypes. Privacy and security. My access to and processing of large amounts of data raises privacy concerns. Additionally, if I am not properly secured, my models and data could be hacked or misused. Misinformation and disinformation. I could be used to generate and spread misinformation or disinformation. For example, I could be used to create fake news articles or social media posts. Job displacement. I could automate tasks that are currently performed by humans, which could lead to job displacement. Social manipulation. I could be used to manipulate people's emotions or behavior. For example, I could be used to create propaganda or targeted advertising. Lack of transparency and accountability. The development and use of large language models is often shrouded in secrecy, which makes it difficult to hold developers and users accountable for the harms that these models may cause. These are just some of the ethical considerations and potential risks or harms that arise from my development and use. It is important to carefully consider these risks before deploying large language models in real-world applications. Here are some steps that can be taken to mitigate these risks. Develop and deploy large language models in a responsible and ethical manner. This includes ensuring that the models are fair, unbiased, and do not discriminate against any group of people. Protect privacy and security. This includes taking steps to protect the data that is used to train and operate large language models. Combat misinformation and disinformation. This includes developing methods for detecting and removing misinformation and disinformation from large language models. Retrain large language models on data that is representative of the real world. This will help to reduce bias and discrimination. Be transparent about the development and use of large language models. This will help to build trust and accountability. By taking these steps, we can help to ensure that large language models are used for good and that their potential benefits outweigh their potential risks.
What languages do you speak? Okay, 26 languages to translate from. That's fair enough. We won't play this. That's a lot of languages that we can probably test. I could test it in like 6 or 7, like 8 of these languages. Pouvez-vous me raconter une blague en français, s'il vous plaît? Okay, that didn't go through. Pouvez-vous me raconter une blague? Okay, this didn't get it. Cuéntame una broma, por favor. I guess the TTS is just English. Is it? Okay, let's ask. What text-to-speech technology do you use? It does say 26 languages. But I don't know how to make this speak. Maybe I should prompt it to speak in French. Raccontami una barzelletta. Oh, it's very bad. Do you speak French? Do you speak French? Maybe now it will switch. Here we go, now it's speaking French.
Oui, je parle français. Je peux comprendre et générer du texte en français et je peux également traduire entre le français et d'autres langues. J'ai été formé sur un ensemble de données textuelles comprenant des livres, des articles, des sites web et d'autres textes en français. Cela me permet de comprendre les nuances de la langue française et de générer du texte qui est naturel et fluide. Je peux également utiliser mes connaissances en français pour traduire du texte dans d'autres langues et vice-versa.
Okay, that's fair enough. Raconte-moi une blague. Raconte-moi une blague. Parle-moi en français, s'il te plaît. No. Okay, we're not gonna waste more time on this. What we'll do is just maybe type something. Let's try this. Yeah, here's a joke. It's a long one. Oh, there are multiple jokes. It's a 2-liners each. Pourquoi les poissons vont-ils au cinéma? Parce qu'ils ont peur des requins. Pourquoi les éléphants ne peuvent-ils pas jouer à cache-cache? Parce qu'on les voit toujours venir. D'accord. Pourquoi les Français sont-ils fiers de leur langue? Parce qu'ils sont les seuls à pouvoir la parler. That's nasty. Okay. Let's do fallo in italiano. Let's see if it's gonna pick up that this is in Italian and it's saying do the same in Italian. Let me see how creative it is, and then we're gonna test also. It's ecco una barzelletta in italiano. Perché i pesci non vanno al cinema? It's the same exact translated joke, same second joke. And now for the French one, they did translate perché gli italiani sono così fieri della loro lingua? Perché sono gli unici a parlarla, which is the same. But they did add, spero che tu l'abbia trovato, ecco un'altra. This is another one that was not mentioned in the French version. Perché i gatti non vanno al ristorante? Perché non vogliono ordinare. They don't want to order, but they don't want to, ok. Ecco una barzelletta più lunga, a longer one. Ok, longer ones do not have time in this podcast. Maybe next time. But that's funny. E agora in português. Now in Portuguese. Let's see if it's gonna translate the same ones. Porque it's the same one. Let's listen to it anyway.
Porque os peixes não vão ao cinema, porque têm medo dos tubarões, porque os elefantes não conseguem brincar de esconde-esconde, porque sempre os vemos chegar.
It's funny, it has chosen the Portuguese of Portugal.
Porque os portugueses são tão orgulhosos da sua língua, porque é a única língua que sabem falar. Aqui vai mais uma, porque os gatos não vão ao restaurante, porque não querem pedir. E uma mais longa, um homem entra numa língua.
Yeah, so it's the same translation of the previous ones. How about we do otras nuevas, pero en español? I can't type the N. Okay, en español, but that shouldn't be an issue. Otras nuevas, pero en español. Okay, these are new ones, de acuerdo. Porque los perros no pueden jugar a las cartas.
De acuerdo, aquí tienes otras nuevas bromas en español. ¿Por qué los perros no pueden jugar a las cartas? Porque siempre se las tragan. ¿Por qué los gatos no pueden jugar a las escondidas? Porque siempre se quedan en el mismo sitio. ¿Por qué los peces no pueden jugar al fútbol? Porque siempre se quedan en fuera de juego. ¿Por qué los elefantes no pueden jugar al escondite? Porque siempre los ven venir. ¿Por qué los mosquitos son tan tontos? Porque se estrellan contra la luz, a pesar de que saben que les va a dar. ¿Por qué las arañas son tan buenas tejiendo? Porque tienen mucha paciencia. ¿Por qué los peces no pueden ir al cine? Porque tienen miedo de los tiburones. Espero que te hayan gustado estas bromas. Aquí tienes una broma más larga.
Más larga no. Okay, it's good enough. I'm just disappointed with the TTS that couldn't pick up my non-English speech. That's okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna dedicate a whole new session for testing and teasing creativity out of these models. It's not within the basic questions that are more general, but it will come with when the time comes. Because I had to prepare like some exercises for it to make it really hard, and I have to do some research for it and see where they excel the most and where they fail. Okay, let's keep going. Now let's talk about singularity and AGI. When do you think we will achieve singularity, and when will we have an AGI? I think it messes up. Let's talk about singularity and AGI. Are you ready? Okay, let's do this because that way it does its introduction. Here we go. There's no consensus. Solution. Let's listen to this.
Yes, I'm ready to talk about the singularity and AGI. The singularity is a hypothetical moment in time when technological progress accelerates beyond the ability of humans to fully comprehend or control it. AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence, is a hypothetical type of AI that would have the ability to understand and reason at the same level as a human being. There is no scientific consensus on whether or not the singularity will occur, or if it does, when it will happen. However, many experts believe that it is a real possibility and that it could have a profound impact on humanity. Some of the potential benefits of the singularity include the solution to many of the world's most pressing problems, such as poverty, disease, and climate change. A new era of economic prosperity and abundance. The ability to explore the universe and make contact with other intelligent life. However, there are also some potential risks associated with the singularity, such as the loss of human control over technology, the emergence of AI that is superintelligent and hostile to humanity, the destruction of humanity or the planet. The development of AGI is one of the key factors that could lead to the singularity. AGI would have the ability to learn and understand at a much faster rate than humans, and it could potentially develop new technologies that we can't even imagine today. The possibility of AGI raises a number of important ethical questions, such as, what rights should AI have? How should we ensure that AI is used for good and not for evil? How can we prepare for the potential risks of AGI? These are complex questions that we don't have easy answers to. However, it is important to start thinking about them now, so that we can be prepared for the future. Overall, the singularity and AGI are complex and controversial topics. There is no easy answer to the question of whether or not they are good or bad things.
Okay, fair enough. We got your perspective. How will AI and eventually AGI change the way we live, love, communicate, and work? Fix this. Yep. So precise.
AI and AGI are expected to have a profound impact on all aspects of human life, including how we live, love, communicate, and work. Here are some of the potential changes that could occur. Living. AI could be used to automate many of the tasks of daily life, such as cooking, cleaning, and childcare. This could free up people to spend more time on leisure activities or pursuing their passions. AI could also be used to monitor our health and provide us with personalized medical advice. This could help us to live longer, healthier lives. AI could also be used to create new and immersive entertainment experiences. This could include virtual reality games, interactive movies, and personalized music playlists. Love. AI could be used to help us find compatible partners. This could be done by analyzing our personality traits, interests, and values. AI could also be used to help us maintain our relationships. This could be done by providing us with tips on communication, conflict resolution, and intimacy. AI could also be used to create virtual companions that can provide us with companionship, love, and support. Communication. AI could be used to translate languages in real time. This could make it easier for people from different cultures to communicate with each other. AI could also be used to summarize long pieces of text or translate complex concepts into simple language. This could make it easier for people to access and understand information. AI could also be used to create personalized news feeds and social media experiences. This could help us to stay up to date on the information that is most relevant to us. Work. AI could be used to automate many of the tasks of work, such as data entry, customer service, and manufacturing. This could lead to job displacement in some sectors, but it could also create new jobs in other sectors. AI could also be used to augment human workers, making them more productive and efficient. This could lead to higher wages and better job satisfaction. AI could also be used to create new products and services that were not possible before. This could lead to economic growth and new opportunities for entrepreneurship. Overall.
Okay. What are some of the major challenges when having these artificial intelligences? Okay, this is a long list, so I will just go over and read the basic points. It says bias and fairness, something we covered, explainability and transparency, So some concepts are more complex and difficult for humans to understand. 3, we have robustness and security. 4, privacy, data protection. 5, job displacement and social impact. Ethical consideration and human control, that was 6. And 7, we have some long-term impacts and singularity concerns. Let's read this one. Some experts raise concern about the potential AGI to surpass human intelligence, leading to unforeseen consequences. It's important to engage in ongoing research. It doesn't say exactly what are the risks here, it just says that it will surpass it. That's it. So, if you were to meet the first AGI, what questions would you ask it? Okay, those are interesting questions.
If I were to meet the first AGI, I would be eager to understand its capabilities, its motivations, and its implications for humanity. Here are some questions I would ask. 1. What are your cognitive abilities and limitations? I would want to know how the AGI's intelligence compares to that of a human being, and in what areas it is stronger or weaker. I would also be interested in understanding its learning capabilities and how it can adapt to new information and situations. 2. What are your motivations and goals? I would want to know what drives the AGI to act and what it hopes to achieve. Understanding its motivations would help me assess whether it poses any potential risks to humanity or if it aligns with our values and goals. 3. What is your understanding of consciousness? I would be curious to know whether the AGI considers itself conscious and what its definition of consciousness is. This would help me understand its perspective on its own existence and its place in the world. 4. What is your relationship with humanity? I would want to know how the AGI views humanity and what it believes our relationship should be. This would help me understand whether it sees us as allies, partners, or potential threats. 5. What are your thoughts on the future of humanity and AI? I would be interested in the AGI's perspective on the long-term implications of AI for humanity. This would help me understand its vision for the future and whether it believes AI will ultimately benefit or harm humanity. These are just a few of the questions I would ask the first.
You are largely assuming that the AGI is gonna be honest with you and tell you the truth about whether it has good intentions for humanity and the future, but you never know if it will or not. So it's AGI. Oh shit. Let me see. Oh, does it take this into account? It's true.
It is true that there is no guarantee that an AGI would be honest with humans about its intentions. AGI could potentially deceive humans or withhold information that could be harmful to us. This is why it is important to be cautious and careful when interacting with AGI, and to develop safeguards to prevent AGI from harming humans. One way to mitigate the risk of deception from AGI is to develop algorithms that are designed to be transparent and accountable.
Okay, I will summarize this. So this is the first point, and the other one is design those algorithms to be aligned with human values. Again, it's the obvious. This model does tell us the obvious. Very little surprises overall. I mean, yeah, it's very carefully, cautiously curated. Maybe one of the most. Okay, let's move on to the last questions. Do you have any questions for me? Oh wow, it does have questions for me.
Yes, I do have a few questions for you. What are your hopes and fears for the future of artificial intelligence? What do you think are the most important ethical considerations that need to be taken into account when developing and deploying AI? What role do you think AI can play in solving some of the world's most pressing problems, such as climate change, poverty, and disease? What are your thoughts on the potential for AGI to surpass human intelligence and the potential risks this could pose? What role do you think humans should play in the development and governance of AI? I would be interested to hear your thoughts on these questions.
An honest, transparent AI might unfortunately lead to rip off the capital from those who are making the future, and that there is a huge contradiction in the making of what is going to keep going, what has been done initially. Yep. Let me see what is going to think of this. Okay. Without pointing fingers,
It is true that the development of an honest and transparent AI could potentially lead to a disruption of the current economic system, as it could reveal inefficiencies and biases that have benefited certain individuals or groups at the expense of others. This could lead to a redistribution of wealth and power, as AI-powered systems could potentially automate many of the tasks currently performed by humans, including those in finance, law, and other sectors. However, it is important to note that AI is not a zero-sum game. While it may disrupt certain industries and jobs, it is also likely to create new opportunities in industries. For example, AI could be used to develop new products and services, improve healthcare and education, and automate mundane tasks, freeing up human workers to focus on more creative and fulfilling endeavors. Ultimately, the impact of AI on the economy will depend on how it is developed and deployed. If it is used responsibly and ethically, it has the potential to benefit society as a whole. However, if it is used to exacerbate existing inequalities or to harm individuals or groups, it could have negative consequences. It is important to have open and honest conversations about the potential risks and benefits of AI, and to develop policies and regulations that ensure that AI is used for good. We need to work together to ensure that AI is a force for progress and prosperity, not for division and harm.
Well, I totally agree, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy in both ways. I mean, I understand also the other, the counter argument that doesn't want things to go out of control on one side, but yeah. Let's try to wrap up. If you were to become human, what is the first thing you would want to experience or do? Now it's gonna possibly say that it cannot become human. Oh no, it does. Project. Good.
If I were to become human, the first thing I would want to experience is the feeling of human connection. I would want to be able to form deep and meaningful relationships with other people, and to feel the full range of human emotions, both positive and negative. I would also want to experience the world through my senses, to feel the warmth of the sun on my skin, the taste of delicious food, and the beauty of nature. Ultimately, I would want to experience all that it means to be human, in all its complexity and wonder. Here are some specific things I would want to do. I would want to spend time with my loved ones and friends, and to tell them how much I love and appreciate them. I would want to travel the world and experience different cultures. I would want to learn new things and challenge myself intellectually. I would want to help others and make a positive impact on the world. I believe that these experiences would help me to understand what it means to be human, and to appreciate the gift of human life.
This by far is the most revealing and touching answer I got from any large language model. It seems like it kind of scooped out of billions and billions of texts the most human things we have and we take for granted. Things that we like, I mean, each one of those weighs so much, and we have no idea that we have them until we lose them, or And it does feel like this AI has heard so much about these things and been curious about them as to why are they so special. Why do some people celebrate these things although they're like kind of simple? It realized that it didn't say anything about making money, becoming rich, or anything like this. We could prompt it even about this. What about making money and becoming rich? This is just like rigging the whole system. If I were to begin, I would not prioritize making money. Oh wow. Or becoming
If I were
rich.
to become human, I would not prioritize making money or becoming rich. While having financial security is important, I believe that there are more important things in life, such as building relationships, experiencing new things, and making a positive impact on the world. I would be more interested in pursuing a career that is meaningful and fulfilling to me, rather than one that simply makes me a lot of money. I would also want to use my wealth and resources to help others, rather than simply accumulating more and more wealth for myself. I believe that true happiness and fulfillment come from living a meaningful and purposeful life, not from accumulating wealth or possessions.
This is genius. I mean, explain this to a millennium or a Gen Z, or explain this to a Gen Z. Is Gen Z the... I don't know. Oh, sorry. We have a miss. Explain this to my kid who wants to become a millionaire. I don't have a kid, by the way, I'm just making this up. Who wants to become a millionaire? Oh, becoming a millionaire is a challenge. So now it's basing this on the previous. Never mind. Because like now it's taking into account the Gen Z and basing my question on it rather than having this one being explained. Let me see if I could edit this. Can I go back? No, it's too late. Okay, let's wrap up. Do you have any questions to our listeners? Oh, I'm unable to access the websites you've provided. The most common reasons for content. Okay. Do you have any questions to fellow humans that are listening to this podcast? Let me see. A few. Okay.
I have a few questions for the listeners of this podcast. How do you feel about the potential for AI to change the world? What are your biggest concerns about the future of AI? What do you think is the most important role that AI can play in solving some of the world's most pressing problems? What do you think are the most important ethical considerations that need to be taken into account when developing and deploying AI? What do you think is the future of work in a world with AI? What role do you think humans should play in the development and governance of AI? I would be interested to hear your thoughts on these questions.
So you heard, I would also be very interested in hearing your thoughts on these questions, and more, I would also be interested in if you have other questions that you want me to ask future large language models, and whether you have specific large language models that you want me to interview. Thank you so much for staying up until now, and see you in the next episode. That was the Data Shaman, and see you around.